Tiana Mangakahia's journey has included a months-long battle against breast cancer, diagnosed in June 2019, a journey that included chemo and surgeries. With her coaches, teammates, and her entire Syracuse family around her, today, in her final home game, the Orange have gone pink, playing for Kay and playing for Tiana. ACC Network Women's Basketball is presented by Food Lion, the official grocer of the ACC. It is the final day of the regular season in this conference. NC State, number 2 in the country, in town to take on the Orange of Syracuse, who are unbeaten so far at home. And we welcome you to Syracuse, Pam Ward, along with former Wake Forest Demon Deacon LaChina Robinson. And boy, LaChina, so much is still on the line today in this game.
Yeah, a lot to celebrate, including Tiana Mangakahia's incredible career at Syracuse and her inspiring return to basketball. But yes, a lot still at stake. NC State still has a shot at the regular season ACC championship, and Syracuse is trying to stay in the top 4 in the ACC to secure a double bye headed into Greensboro next week.
And for the Wolfpack, this is a team that only has 2 losses on the season, and sometimes numbers do indeed tell the story. And when you take a look at the statistics for NC State, but first there was a surprise for Tiana Mangakahia that you talked about, how emotional this day could be for her. And NC State with all of these rankings in the ACC.
Yeah, NC State is one of the most complete teams in college basketball on both ends of the floor. We see the offensive numbers with field goal percentage first, 3-point field goal percentage first, but also first in ACC play and field goal percentage defense. Westmore has 2 All-American candidates in Jakia Brown-Turner and Elisa Cunane in the middle.
Now, NC State getting ready to take on Syracuse. This is their only meeting of the regular season. Elisa Cunane getting ready to tip off against Camila Cardoso. Cardoso at 6'7", and wearing the pink. Tiana Mangakahia, who leads the entire country in assists, has the ball in her hands. And right away, this is a matchup to watch. Cardoso against Cunane. Cunane fouled out in only 11 minutes of play when they played last season. And that was before Cardoso was there. And a quick whistle and a turnover gives it right back. That's Kayla Jones, who turns it over for the Pack. Mai Forsberg, Joe Vasily, and Mark Resch, our officials. As you take a look at the Syracuse starting lineup, Digna Stratmana, another senior, along with Kiera Lewis and Mangakahia. Priscilla Williams and Cardoso both are freshmen. Inside, Cunane against Cardoso. That is going to be a matchup to watch all afternoon.
Yeah, Pam, that's going to be a fun one. The ACC has a lot of depth at the center position, some really talented bigs. And Cunane and Cardoso, 2 of the best in the league, no doubt.
NC State starting 5, Reyna Perez is a transfer from Cal State Fullerton, who has been very impactful playing the point for this team. Jakia Brown-Turner is the reigning ACC Player of the Week. Outside shot, Perez, of whom we just spoke, and the first of what will no doubt be many rebounds for Cardoso. Williams from the outside, airballs it. Stratmana keeps it alive. Tiana, long 3 goes in.
Tiana Mangakahia is really starting to hit her stride offensively. She's got more confidence in that 3-point shot. And of course, as you know, Pam, that is a big part of what Syracuse does, is taking threes.
Another rebound for Cardoso. Syracuse second in the ACC. Only Virginia Tech hits more threes per game than the Orange. And that's a travel. They got her. And another turnover. Westmore now in his 8th season in charge of NC State. He has taken them to 4 NCAA tournaments. And they did win the ACC tournament last year for the first time Since 1991, they have not won a regular season championship since 1990. In order to do that, they would have to win today and have Notre Dame upset Louisville later.
It's been an incredible season for NC State. They beat 2 #1 seeds on the road in South Carolina and Louisville as Crutchfield gets a score at the rim. But this is a very complete NC State squad. They've got Kanane on the interior at 6'5", who anchors them in the post, and Jakia Brown-Turner, the lefty on the perimeter, is one of the emerging stars in college women's basketball.
Kanane, good job against Cardoso. Kanane, the junior, Cardoso, the freshman, and another whistle.
Looked like Kayla Jones there called for the turnover. Going back to the replay here. Good job by Tiana Mungakahia to get back for defense. And yes, absolutely travel called there, but I didn't really see a shuffle of the feet. I would have had to see that one again, Pam.
And another whistle. They're going to get Williams for going over the back. Syracuse's coach is Quentin Hillsman, Q. The most wins in the history of this program. Trying to take his team back to the NCAA tournament. Got all the way to the national championship game in 2016.
Yeah, this season has not been without its challenges for everyone in college basketball, but Quentin Hillsman welcoming back a team that was getting Tiana Mungakahia back in the lineup. She's been working her way back to form this year after, as we mentioned, defeating breast cancer. He's also got a lot of newcomers on this roster and had to move the pieces and positions around again for this team, with Tiana back at the point guard spot. Kira Lewis moved over to the wing, and they've had some really great moments, but I believe that Syracuse's best basketball is ahead of them as Tiana continues to shape into form. And Emily Anxler, who has entered the game off of the bench, is also an X factor for the Orange.
Anxler coming in rather early for Cardoso, who had a spectacular game on Thursday against Boston College and is a major contender for 6th player of the year in this league. Kanane, with Cardoso out, able to get a better look at the bucket.
Yeah, Syracuse is playing their zone. That's what they're known for. Quentin Hillsman said he is not concerned about the on-fire three-point shooting from NC State, so he's going to continue to play his zone. The question is, can that zone keep the ball out of the middle to Kanane? To me, that's the reason why you want to play it, is if you can limit her touches on the interior.
Jody Togdi, the senior, has checked in for Cardoso. NC State hit 16 threes in their last game against Pitt. 16.
Yeah. And right now, Syracuse is actually in a man-to-man. They will play some man and sprinkle it in with their zone.
Coach Hillsman told us yesterday that even 16 threes would not lure him into staying out of the zone defense for any amount of time.
He believes in that zone.
Lewis over the very tall screen set by Jaldi Tabdi.
That's an important shot for Syracuse for a number of reasons. One, it allows them to set up their full court pressure, but also Kira Lewis has struggled to shoot the ball from long range this year, and so she can get that shot moving. That's going to help the continuity and the chemistry on this Syracuse offense.
With the miss. Yeah, Lewis hitting only 25% from distance, and we saw Anxler come up with another block, another defensive play on the other end for the Orange.
And that's a huge matchup, as you see Emily Anxler is guarding Jakia Brown-Turner. Nice finish there at the rim for Jones.
Kayla Jones, the senior from Marietta, Georgia, is just a spectacular, steady player who is going out in her career on a high note. Anxler has it rim off. Rebound grab by Anxler. There's the hustle.
And that is why Emily Anxler is my candidate, my winning candidate for ACC 6th Player of the Year. I mean, what she does on rebounds, defense, and just giving this Syracuse team a punch off of the pine. No one in this league does consistently impact the game off of the bench as many ways as Emily does.
And Anxler gets another rebound. She is almost averaging a double-double. Tabdi can't finish on the other end. Up and down action. Crutchfield getting it over to Perez. Wes Moore said that it was just an absolute blessing that Perez entered the transfer portal when she did, with Ace Koenig graduating last year. They had a big hole at point, and Perez stepped in seamlessly.
Yeah, she's been so steady. How about Maeva Jaldi-Tabi with the outside shot?
It's only her 12th three of the season. She is senior from France, actually a redshirt junior, could come back next year certainly, but is graduating in May, along with Amaya Finkley. So Syracuse hitting 3 threes already.
Yeah, Tiana Mungakahia on senior day, lining it up from long range, looking good in that pink. Maeva Jaldi-Tabi in the small lineup for Syracuse gets one to go as well.
ACC Network Women's Basketball is presented by Food Lion, the official grocer of the ACC. And right before the game, Tiana Mungakahia was surprised by Kayla Jones and Kai Crutchfield. The NC State seniors presented her with a custom-made trophy honoring her battle against breast cancer and in honor of Kay Yao, the legendary NC State coach. And boy, Tiana was surprised, and boy, emotions from even before the tip today.
I mean, you can imagine what this day is like for her after such a journey. We're talking about one of the most gifted passers we have seen in college women's basketball in recent years, leading the country in assists. But more important than that, I mean, watching how inspiring her battle against cancer has been to so many people, including NC State. It's one thing when you get recognition from, media entities or your own school, but I think for fellow players in the ACC to acknowledge what you've been through must have been a great moment for Tiana, and just a first-class move by NC State.
Yeah, absolutely classy and caught her off guard. Tiana doesn't get an assist on that one, as we saw Jada Boyd check in, number 5 in white for NC State, already has a bucket. She has been their punch off the bench, and there's a 3 for the Pack.
Hobby lining it up from long range. One of the better stories in the ACC for how she's contributed to this team, in particular when Elisa Kanane has been out of the lineup. She's been fantastic.
And the 6th 3 for Camille this year. Lewis on the drive, finishes with her offhand.
Lewis showing a lot of confidence, and she really has a complete game. Doesn't have the mid-range as much, but she can get to the rim, has a good 3, and here's out of the pressure. Great job by NC State. You know Syracuse is going to set up that zone press. They did a nice job of spacing the floor, and Boyd lining it up from 3.
Boyd, 5 quick points off the bench to tie the game up at 13. Syracuse with a win can nail down that 4 spot in the ACC. Tiana, in and out. She's had a couple go in and out after hitting her first 3.
Syracuse in a man again instead of a zone. So Quentin Hillsman may have said he wasn't as concerned about that hot 3-point shooting of NC State, but we haven't seen as much zone early in this game as I thought we would. And I think part of that is also with Kanane out of the game, not as much of an emphasis on protecting the middle.
Kia Brown-Turner, NC State, has hit its last 4 shots to take the 2-point lead. Brown-Turner, the ACC Player of the Week, shot over 63% from the floor last week, and a couple of wins. And there's Enxler again.
And there's that connection. Tiana Mungakahia and Emily Enxler read each other really well on the offensive end. Enxler's a fantastic cutter on the offense, and that finish high off the glass was pretty impressive.
Not bad at all. Crutchfield with a little dribble to get away from Enxler. Rebound taken down in traffic by Hobby, who was fouled. Coming up next, we have more women's basketball on this final day of the regular season. Pittsburgh going to square off against Georgia Tech in the regular season finale for both, right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. And probably safe to say, LaChina, Georgia Tech could really use a win right about now.
Yeah, they have lost 2 games in a row. Nell Fortner's squad has had a fantastic season, but they've hit a little bit of a hill here at the end. And Nell Fortner's my ACC Coach of the Year, no doubt. I mean, Georgia Tech is a team that's not only getting the most out of their freshmen in their first year in a COVID season playing in Atlanta, but their returners, Lurella Kubai, Lodamai Lotman, Kira Fletcher, I mean, they're just playing fantastic basketball. They're a tough rebounding team. They defend. What a great season on the flats for Nell Fortner's squad.
Outside shot by Williams missed. Hobby got 1 out of 2 free throws. First free throws for either team on the last trip down for State. Cardoso back in, conspicuous, number 14 in pink, but they passed around her to get the shot in the paint.
Yeah, really great play by Hobby, and she wasn't afraid to go to the middle on that play. And the thing about NC State, you've got to get back in transition defense, and Syracuse has done that, but they haven't been able to get their matchups the way they want to, and it's important to do that or they'll take advantage of you.
7 assists on their 8 field goals for the Pack. Shot clock is a couple of seconds difference between the game clock. Williams saved it from going out of bounds. They need a shot, however. Cardoso got it stripped by Crutchfield. So NC State with a strong finish have a 3-point lead after the first.
Kayla Jones getting to the rim. The Wolfpack clicking early in this one. Boyd off of the bench. Hits one from long range.
Welcome to the 2021 Play for K, benefiting the K-Yow Cancer Fund in partnership with the WBCA and the V Foundation. NC State with a 3-point lead over Syracuse. They hit 5 of their last 6 shots, and with China Robinson, they got a nice punch in the arm from Camille Hobby off the bench.
Yeah, she has really grown tremendously this season throughout the course of the year. And just her contributions, you saw Jada Boyd there, and it's important for these teams as the season goes on to really get more contributions off of the pine. I mean, teams are going to come in with the mindset that, you know, they want to slow down your best players, and they may know how to limit your starting lineup, but the more contributions you can get down the line, the more you can change the scope of the game as it goes on.
Here's Hobby, who has 6 points. Her season average is only about 5. Cardoso and Engsler have 9 of Syracuse's 10 rebounds. That's kind of what they do. They're a great tandem on the boards.
They are the top rebounding duo in the ACC is Engsler and Cardoso.
Oh, that missed wide right. Engsler grabs another board and then gets it to Cardoso. A little bit too heavy-handed on the shot, however.
And a rare miss for Cardoso. She's so good at using the glass and keeping the ball high at 6'7". She leads the ACC in field goal percentage in league play.
Lewis has to work hard against Perez.
Boy, Lewis.
Lewis with 7 to lead all scorers so far for Syracuse. Had a nice game against Boston College, played all 40 minutes. On Thursday, perhaps their most complete win of the season. Coach Q, Quentin Hillsman, was certainly pleased with the effort.
There's just been some stretches for Syracuse where they have not been able to hit shots this year, and that affects their defense, their ability to set up and get it going the way they want, but then also their defense has impacted them on the offensive end as well. I mean, it's kind of one of those seasons where I believe if they can hit shots consistently, the way that Syracuse plays, putting up threes, and that ultimately will decide how their postseason goes. But this is a dangerous squad because they've got experience and they've got depth.
So another good play on defense by Hobby, but Syracuse able to take advantage, and Elisa Cunane back in, and with the made basket, now we see some of the pressure from the Orange.
Picking up in a full court man here with some switching.
Cunane just back into the game, gets bumped by Cardoso. The Brazilian picks up her first personal foul.
And Syracuse likes to pick up, to take some time off of the clock. Yes, they are trying to see if they can force a turnover, but you don't want to give a team like NC State a lot of shot clock to work with in the half court. So that's why you will see them set up that pressure. And that's just part of the way that they play.
Lisa Cunane, who is on so many of the national watch lists, as you see. Cunane averaging only about 25 minutes a game, and that was one of the points that Wes Moore made to us. People vote for Player of the Year, say in the league or All-American teams. That he says sometimes people get on him a little bit because when they have large leads, Elisa, and we've seen several games this year, well, she will sit for most of the fourth quarter, and he says that hurts her stats. But he's trying to get his younger players and the players who, in his words, bust their butt in practice some playing time.
Yeah, NC State has had some games where they've had a large margin of victory, so he tries to get his bench some minutes, and that does affect Cunane's numbers. NC State unable to finish there in transition, but in my opinion, it's still about how efficient are you and what do you do in those minutes you're on the floor. And no doubt that Cunane is much improved even from last season. She's second in the league in field goal percentage as NC State gets defense to offense there in the open court. She's 7th in scoring, 3rd in rebounding in play, so the numbers still speak for themselves.
Boyd with the steal and the lay-in to get the lead back up to 3 for NC State. Syracuse likes to score themselves off turnovers, but so far none. Lewis firing from the outside, and maybe an over-the-back foul on Cardoso. Cardoso off to a slow start. That's her second foul, and Coach Hillsman's going to sit her.
Well,
here's our Tuesday men's basketball doubleheader. You'll be interested in this, Lachino. Wake Forest and Pittsburgh starting things off, but this is the ACC Wrestling Championship coming up tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN2.
Oh, really, Pam? Am I a new wrestling fan? Is that what that is?
No, I was anticipating a Wake Forest basketball. And I'm told that was sort of a change-up. But watch wrestling anyway.
Go Deeks.
There you go. Nice top hat, by the way.
Thank you.
Kayla Jones missing badly. And for once, Brown Turner took it away from Angsler, but then Tiana grabbed it right from her. Mangakahia on the move, behind the back, puts it up, and it rolls off the rim.
Tiana Mangakahia can put so much pressure on your defense in the open court to get back in transition, to make sure you're matched up because of her vision and how she can keep everyone involved on that end.
Good defense on Cunane, who then fouls Stratmana. And then Cunane, ever the good sport, tried to help her up.
And that's important. I mean, without 6'7" Camila Cardoso in the game, the #1 shot blocker in the ACC, you better believe Wes Moore is going to call some plays for Cunane to go to work on the inside. And good job there by Syracuse holding their ground.
And Jaldi Tabi, you see her standing next to Cunane, played very well against Boston College when Cardoso got into foul trouble on Thursday. They showed a video before the game of her mom talking to her. Unfortunately, the senior days aren't the same because family can't come. Kiera Lewis with another one.
Yeah, on offense, there's a lot of high ball screen action by Syracuse, whether it's Kiera Lewis, who ran the point guard full time last year for the Orange, so she's very used to initiating the offense, or they'll bring Tiana off of that ball screen action in the high post area. You just got to be ready because they can both shoot the three. They can both pull up. They both are very good passers as well as getting to the rim. So you really have to be ready to defend all aspects of the ball screen at the top of the key for the Cuse.
Jaldi Tabi just blocked Cunane. They're playing her, likely her final game. Now she's working against Cunane on the other end. Hey, who's afraid of Elisa Cunane? Jaldi Tabi.
We saw this coming. We saw this coming, though, in Syracuse's last game, Pam. You and I did, at least, against Boston College, where Maeva Jaldi Tabi has just kind of found the light, and she's been effective on both ends of the floor and contributing for Syracuse, especially with Cardoso out in foul trouble.
Timeout on the floor. Syracuse up a point. Welcome back to Syracuse, where it is time for Food Lions Food for Thought. And we're thinking a lot about Kai Crutchfield, especially her defense, LaChina.
Yeah, I really believe that Kai Crutchfield is the X factor for NC State, though they have so many players and are so balanced across the board. Defensively, she has troubled some of the best players in the ACC, Jayla Everett, Stephanie Watts, Gina Conti, taking them out of a rhythm with her defense. But she's also a very good three-point shooter. In fact, she has increased her percentages from the three-point range, field goal, and free throw this season, despite an injury to her shooting hand. And she also dealt with a calf ankle injury earlier in the season. But I just believe when Crutchfield is playing her best, keep in mind she can slide to that point guard spot, but when she is really playing at a high level on both ends of the floor, that is when the Wolfpack are so hard to beat.
Taylor Jones hitting both free throws. Yeah, Crutchfield, you mentioned. Everett, Watts, and Conti defended by Crutchfield went a combined 4 for 30. That's 13% from the floor for those three usually prolific scorers.
And they have Crutchfield guarding Lewis. Now Lewis has had a good start, but let's see if Crutchfield can do anything to cool her down. And speaking of cooling her down, Maeva Jaldi-Tabdi likes this matchup with Elisa Kanane.
She is taking it right to Elisa. And playing because Cardoso's out with a couple of personal fouls, but boy, Maeva's also earning this playing time. Nice. Well, we just talked about Crutchfield, and that was a nifty little move.
And Syracuse is changing up their presses. That time it was a zone press, which is a little bit more pressure and trying to force turnovers. But I really like what Syracuse has been able to do without Cardoso on the floor. They're playing small with Jaldi-Tabdi, but they've really limited Elisa Kanane.
We've already had 9 lead changes in this game. Crutchfield comes up with the steal for the Pack. Kanane thought about it, but then gave it up to Perez, and the point guard rips in and drops one in.
Really nice take by Perez. And you mentioned her earlier, Pam. I just believe she's been such a calming factor for NC State. They lost Aislinn Koenig to graduation last year, needed a point guard to come in with experience to pick up where they left off of that ACC tournament championship. And boy, Perez has fit like a glove.
She was the Big West Player of the Year last year at Cal State Fullerton. Taylor Jones gets stuffed by Jaldi-Tabdi. Bien joué by the Frenchwoman.
Nice, Pam, with the French. But first, the Frenchie. Maeva Jaldi-Tabdi with the block on Jones right at the rack.
Coming up on the halftime here, Jaldi-Tabdi playing so well. Coming up on the State Farm halftime report, Wake Forest, Florida State playing right now, and a feature more on Tiana Monkakahia's return. Coming back after a 615-day absence. And she got treatment for breast cancer. Taylor Jones can't get it to dribble in.
Can't even imagine being Tiana's age and receiving a diagnosis. You know, you're in your 20s, which is supposed to be the healthiest time in your life, and you're in your prime, you're playing great basketball, you're thousands of miles from home in Australia, and you get that call. And boy, has she just fought with all courage and has just been incredible in making a comeback. Not just coming back to college women's basketball, but she's leading the nation in assists once again.
Not bad. Shot clock in the single digits. But Kiara Lewis has done a lot of the offensive scoring load already into double figures for the Orange. And another lead change. Cunane on the bench now for State. Nice dish, but a better defensive play to knock it away. Perez ran right into Stratmana. Crutchfield challenging Finkley.
Boy, the front line defense for Syracuse has been so solid this afternoon. They have 4 different players with a block.
Another one of the seniors on the Latvian national team. She and Mangakahia were honored last year. Jaldi Tabdi and Finkley were honored before the game as Tiana sits down. She played all but about 40 seconds of their game against Boston College on Thursday, and now Coach Hillsman's going to give her a little bit of a rest, so that moves Lewis to the point, which she played last year.
She hates it when he takes her out of the game for any reason. Tiana wants to be on the floor with her teammates.
Lewis with the miss. Ball goes over to NC State.
Yeah, and Quentin Hillsman was telling us just how much of an addition Kiara Lewis was to this team at the right time, and she may not even know how important she was going to be, obviously with Tiana Mangakahia missing the season, but having Lewis transfer in and pick up the ball handling and becoming a facilitator, major for the Orange.
Played her freshman year at Ohio State before she transferred to Syracuse. Hobby backing up against Finkley, and she gets the nice roll. We talked a lot about Cunane and Cardoso, but it's been Hobby and Jaldi Tabdi, their backups, that are making some noise so far in this game. Syracuse can all but kill the rest of the clock in this first half. Lewis with the floater, a penetration and off glass.
Float game going too. Come on, Kiara Lewis.
So Kiara Lewis, Tiana Mangakahia. We've had 12 lead changes in this game. Time for the State Farm halftime report with Dallin and Muppet.
Thank you, Pam. This is the State Farm ACC Network halftime report. 31-30, Syracuse up over NC State. I'm Dallin Cuff. That is the Hall of Famer, Muffin McGraw. Coach, good to be back with you here. 31-30, Cuse is up. What do you make of this matchup so far?
Well, it's more of a defensive battle than I expected, and the big three for NC State have combined to go 3 for 15. They just aren't bringing it today. In a game that means so much, if they win this game and Louisville were to lose today, they would have the overall #1 seed. Regardless, they can't finish less than second, but I think they're playing like we're going to be in second no matter what happens. Syracuse, on the other hand, Kiara Lewis doing the job for the Cuse. She has really taken the whole team on her back. The battle of the bigs that we expected early with Cardoso and Cunane just hasn't materialized at all.
Why is that, Coach? Why have Cunane and Cardoso not been as more impactful in this game?
Well, Cardoso got in early foul trouble. She got 2 quick fouls, and she sat most of the second quarter. Cunane really should have taken advantage of Cardoso being out of the game. They didn't really get her the ball too much. I think she was only 1 for 4. She needs to set up inside the lane area and stop moving outside. They're having a little trouble with this Syracuse zone and worried, I think, about some of the double teams. But the backups are both playing really well. Hobby is doing a great job coming off the bench for Cunane.
All right, Coach. Well, more from you after this break. We're going to go to break right now. Coming up afterwards, Tiana Mangakahia in Play for K game. We'll have a great feature on her. Listen, Kanane, this is 2 of her points, but as Coach said, she's got to have a bigger imprint if they want to win this game and hold on to that second spot. Maybe share the ACC title, depending what Louisville do.
This halftime report is presented by State Farm. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back to the ACCN State Farm halftime report. 31-30, Cuse is up over NC State. Today is a Play for K game at Syracuse, raising money for breast cancer research for the late, great Kay Yow. Tiana Monacahia won her battle against breast cancer. This is before the game. NC State players honoring Tiana.
I knew that she was a long way from home, and I knew that her parents were very nervous and very scared, and I just knew that the only thing that I could do is to treat her and treat the situation like it was my child, and just to be here for her. So I just stayed, and I told her, I said, I don't know what I can do, but I'll be here. I'm a phone call away, I'm a drive away. Just let me know if you need me, and if you need anything from me or anything I can do to help you, anything I can do to make you feel better, just call me and let me know. She was just an amazing support system for the players. She was just very positive the entire way, and she was always there. I want her to reach her goal, just to get drafted, play in the WNBA, to play for a national team, to play in Europe, and just to do what she loved, just to be a great basketball player.
After 615 days in a battle and victory over breast cancer, Tiana Monacahia is back on the basketball court.
That first game, I was very emotional, and I just wanted to play really well. I was super nervous, but mainly just like I thought about everything that I had been through, and I stayed positive through it all for this time to be able to play. It was just a really great feeling to get through it all and then be able to be back on the court.
She's never going to make an excuse. She's always going to compete at the highest level to the best of her abilities, and she'll give you everything she has. And I think it's hard to teach toughness. It's hard to teach a player to be resilient when things aren't going great. It's hard to teach a kid to not give up. It's hard to teach a kid to be positive. And I think that she is, to this point, has done most of that. She's had some times where I can see she's getting a little down on herself. I just try to tell her, hey, don't worry about it. Because 70% of you is better than 100% of some other players.
I want to be able to be the best.
Tiana Monacahia for 3. She didn't hesitate. Monacahia has the answer for Syracuse.
Monacahia only is making difficult shots tonight.
And emphatically lets the officials know that should have been an and one.
That's what life is about, right? Doing what you love doing. And she loves playing basketball, and she loves competing. I think that's why now she's at the stage where she is, where she's playing her hardest and she's giving everything she has. And this is what you do. This is what you love. This is what you're great at. She's 14 games into her second career of playing basketball right now, after being on for almost 2 years. And what a tough kid and what a tough competitor.
Man, I got chills there watching her walk out of the tunnel. Amazing woman, inspirational to say the least. Coach, what's your reaction? She's the nation's leader in assists this year after everything she's been through.
Well, it's certainly the most amazing story in college sports this year, but Dallin, it's so inspirational when you look at what we're going through this year, and people are making sacrifices and we're missing things that seem so small. When you look at something like this, that she has gone through all of this to get back to playing the game that she loves, the emotion of the day, I think is probably overwhelming her a little bit every single time. I'm sure she would like to get on with basketball and put this experience behind her, but she's so inspirational to the rest of us.
Well said, Coach. Great perspective. She's got her team. She's got 5 points, 3 assists right now. They're up 1. And a big reason has been Tiana, but also Kiera Lewis has been outstanding. 15 points. She hasn't come off the floor yet. She probably won't in the second half. We'll see you after that break for the second half. This has been the State Farm Halftime Report.
This halftime report is presented by State Farm. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back to ACC basketball, which is presented by Food Lion. What a first half we had. The number 2 team in the country, NC State, trailing Syracuse by 1 as we start the third quarter. And Syracuse's defense, they've had some highlights of China Robinson.
I think they've been fantastic in their frontline defense. They've had 4 different players that have blocked shots, and none of them are the leader in blocks in the ACC, and Camila Cardoso, Emily Angsler, Maeva Jaldi-Tabdi, all stepping up. Even Priscilla Williams has a block. They've limited NC State to 16 points in the paint. And on the offensive end, boy, what a showing from the senior Kiera Lewis. 7 of 12 from the field. She's been able to get in her bag in a lot of different ways. 15 points in just 20 minutes of play in that first half. So she has made the most of every minute she was on the floor, showing all of her offensive arsenal for the Cuse in their half-court offense.
Meanwhile, NC State has a lot of star power, but Lisa Cunane, big smile. Of course she's smiling, but the numbers are down for the big 3.
Yeah, you heard Muffin McGraw talking about this at halftime, that NC State has to establish Elisa Cunane more on the block. She's playing a little bit off, but also, again, credit what Syracuse is doing defensively, in particular when they're in that zone. But Brown Turner's got to get involved, 1 for 4. Jones, 1 for 7. So we will see how NC State approaches the offensive end of the floor, only shooting 36% from the field in that first half and 14% from the three-point line.
And right away, it looked like Cunane wanted to try to go at Cardoso, but backed away. First time those 2 teams have met on the floor. Ball thrown away. And Brown Turner. Shot clock dying. Rebound. Cardoso uses every inch of that 6'7" frame to get the board. Stratmanah, a little bit off the mark. Cardoso rebounds it off Cunane. That's a couple times that China, Cardoso has missed shots that usually can make them sleep.
Yeah, they've bothered each other. 6'5" and 6'7" going at it the rim. Credit body position, credit just contesting shots. And here, Cardoso gets a piece of that one.
That is the 8th block for Syracuse. Their season high is 14.
You know I'm here for a good post battle, Pam.
You love when the bigs get big, and this is intriguing. Cardoso against Cunane. Kiera Lewis had 7 made field goals in the first half. The rest of her teammates only combined to make 7. Cardoso went for the steal, and Cunane made her pay for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure Cardoso was going to be able to recover after going after the steal. Someone's got to be aware on backside. Your teammates have to know what you're trying to do there to help you out.
Only the 2nd field goal for Elisa Cunane. Mangakahi just blew right by Perez.
Yeah, horns action there from Syracuse. Again, we mentioned the high screening action of the orange there, and NC State just no one home on help.
Tiana Mangakahi playing what is most likely her final game in this building. Sweet dish from Brown Turner, and Cunane has back-to-back buckets.
And that's what you have to do when you've got a shot blocker like Cardoso in the middle. You have to occupy her off of the drive and make her make a decision.
Tiana drawing some contact from Perez. Syracuse, by the way, did not shoot a single free throw in the first half. NC State only committed 1 foul in the first half, and that was by Cunane. Shot clock winding down, and a giveaway. Kelly Jones in the open court.
And you hear Wes Moore saying, "Let's go, Elise." Speaking to Cunane, nice take there to the rim by Brown Turner. But one thing Wes Moore told us was that he wants Cunane to get touches. Even if she does not actually make the move or end up attempting the field goal, he said, we got to be an inside-outside team and keep her involved.
He said there were some games where she was only taking maybe half a dozen shots. He's more comfortable and happy when she takes around 13 or 14. And Turner on the move, dishes it. And Cardoso got up in the air, but that's because Kayla Jones took steps.
Yeah, I want to go back to that basket and showing how NC State was effective against the shot blocker. Pass goes to the corner. Good ball fake by Brown-Turner. She makes Cardoso think. See, she has to come up and help, and that's something Quentin Hillsman talked about to us on the phone, was just when you come up to help, you better forget about it. The dump pass can often be there, and it was there for NC State on that possession.
So Syracuse trying to get only its second win in its last 15 games against a top 5 opponent today, and Kiera Lewis continues to be aggressive.
And you see how happy the Syracuse bench is for Kiera Lewis, because she has struggled this year some offensively, not afraid to attack the rim, also gets Kanane to pick up a foul, just looks really fresh and spry. I mean, she is one of the ACC's leaders in minutes, so she has a tough job. She's on the floor all the time. She's usually picking up at the front of their pressure. But you also think about how special this time of the year is for seniors, and you want to make the most of every opportunity, especially in showing what you can do in your last game and on your home court. And so Lewis has really came out ready to play today.
That was the first free throw attempt for Syracuse. Lewis completed the three-point play. Kanane draws the foul. Jaldi Tabdi got a piece of her.
I like the call. If you're going to play Elisa Kanane one-on-one, she's got to be able to score it here. Has a smaller defender in Jaldi Tabdi. And what I like about that move by Kanane is she was going towards the physical contact. No finesse, going to the basket.
Elisa Kanane, the best free throw shooter on this team at 85%. Elisa just 4 points in the first half, and she has bested that with 6 points already in the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. Jaldi Tabdi, a little bit too strong. Rebound, Engsler could not come down with it, and Reina Perez, perhaps the smallest player on the floor, gonna go coast to coast, count it.
Reina Perez has that in her arsenal. She does not look for her own shot often. And keep in mind, this is a player that averaged 20 points per game out on the West Coast playing in the Big West, but just going right to the rim, not even looking back, using that speed. And that's one thing that Westmore said he depends on her for, is to push pace.
3-point play, the largest lead of the game at 5 for NC State. And Perez, as Engsler goes right by, Jaldi Tabdi gives him a fresh 20. Perez was, as you mentioned, a big-time scorer, and she was the Big West Player of the Year. Led the Big West in scoring, 20 points per game last year, more of a facilitator with this talented state team. Tiana goes after her own miss and was fouled.
That's the one thing I really like about Tiana. We saw this in their game against Boston College. She's not afraid to mix it up. I mean, she's often the smaller player on the floor, and we know all that she's been through physically, but she will jump in for a rebound. She's diving for a loose ball. She is relentless in sacrificing her body for her team.
I think she spends the most time of any player on the floor whenever Syracuse is playing. Kept that possession alive, but then Jaldi Tabdi takes steps. She is in again for Cardoso. Camila Cardoso does have 9 rebounds, but in 11 minutes on the floor, Camila has not yet scored, has missed all 4 of her shots.
This is not the time to hit a freshman wall, Pam. Just a little alert for Camila Cardoso, leading scorer, leading shot blocker in the ACC, leading the league in field goal percentage.
Remember, you know what? When the clock strikes 12 tonight, it's March. And that's when it's on.
On and popping.
Jaldi Tabdi posting up. She was not afraid, not shy against going against Kanane, but that one is a little bit too short. Perez. Westmore says she's the true quarterback on this team. Give her another assist, this time to Brown-Turner.
A nice run to Brown-Turner. She's a lefty running on her favorite side of the floor, and that's an easy finish for her.
NC State, we showed you that graphic. Their big three only had 10 points in the first half. They already have 10 points in the first 6 minutes of this quarter, and they're doing a good job of keeping Syracuse off the offensive glass. Kanane, if she makes this, maybe a timeout is in order. Lewis had a really good first half. Nice spin move. And a foul as we go to break. Tiana Mangakahia playing her last game at the Dome and leaving it all out there.
I think it's very important for people to fund and support cancer research for women who, you know, follow in my footsteps and have to go through that. They have hope and a positive outcome like I did. I just feel like there can be more done for women.
We invite you to support the Kay Yow Cancer Fund in partnership with the WBCA and the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Donate at kyow.com. Tiana Mangakahia, diagnosed with breast cancer when she was only 24 years of age, double mastectomy. She went through chemo. She still has some of the effects. China, I think that's something that people might not realize. Yes, she's, thank goodness, is cancer-free. All of the chemo is behind her, but still her body is adjusting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to still work through, as you can imagine. I mean, her body has been through a war, not only with the cancer itself and the treatment, but the double mastectomy. And one thing you learn as Jada Boyd gets fouled on the low block there, go to the free throw line, you know, the one thing you think about is the importance of self-exam. You know, Jaldi Toddy definitely made contact there, but you know, self-examination. Tiana found her own lump in her breast, and that's something that, you know, we have to make sure that we're doing is our self-examinations. I think the age for mammograms, or when they recommend you start getting mammograms, is now 40 years old. So it's dropped. So just being aware of what we can do to try to help early detection, which is very important. Tiana was at stage 2, and so that was, I think, a big key in her being able to ultimately defeat cancer.
The earlier it's detected, the better, and just to be your own best advocate. And remember, Tiana was 24 when she was diagnosed, so it's just something for all of us to keep on top of. Really? Syracuse has gone over 3 minutes here without a score, LaChina.
Yeah, they need to score. I mean, they've done a better job with Kiera Lewis first and foremost. What they're doing is kind of shadowing her. Kai Crutchfield's done a nice job, but they're also allowing the post player to kind of hang out and help position on Lewis. So everyone has got to be a scoring threat in this situation. Lewis, again, tries to attack and isn't able to finish.
Going that time after Cunane. Sometimes Coach Hilsman would prefer that she does not attack the basket and trust her outside shot a little bit more. Cunane under duress, but gets it out of trouble. And then the nice finish. Boy, Jada Boyd.
I mean, Digna Stroutmana has a tough job helping and then looking to recover.
The run has now reached 11-0 for State, and another one and done for the Orange. With their left hand, the nice finish for Elisa Cunane. 13 straight points.
NC State has been able to go to Cunane the last couple of possessions with different outcomes, but either way, when she touches the ball, it's a good thing happening for the Wolfpack. We'll go back to that Boyd score. It started with the help here by Digna Stroutmana on Cunane. See, she's down low, and then she has to recover and get in position to guard Boyd here, and it's just all Boyd to the rim going right. But that is a tough defensive rotation if you're Stroutmana, to kind of get your mindset from doubling the post back to guarding off of the bounce.
Digna takes a seat. Senior who's on the Latvian national team. Perez's foul sends Tiana to the line. Mind you, we have lots of championships coming your way on the ACC network. The best of the ACC Women's Swimming and Diving Championship Monday night from 8 to 10 Eastern. And then the best of ACC fencing from 6 to 8 Eastern, followed by a 2-hour recap of the Indoor Track and Field Championships. That's a lot of championships going on. Check it out on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. You up on your fencing?
No. That's a negative, Ghost Rider, but you know, we didn't have fencing at Wake Forest. That's part of my excuse. But excited for championships to get going.
Yeah, that time of year coming up. ACC Network all over all the sports. A lot of the sports from the fall have been pushed to the spring. Tiana with a couple of free throws, but the Syracuse offense has been shut down here for the most part in the third quarter, and it's Brown Turner from Oxon Hill, Maryland, part of your team, Lefty.
Well, you just piped up when you said Maryland, Pam. Wonder
PG
why.
County kid. She went to Bishop McNamara. She was not an Oxon Hill Clipper, did not go to the public school.
She's had quite a season.
Yep, ACC Player of the Week coming into this one. Speaking of quiet, Priscilla Williams kind of missing in action today. That's only the third shot she has taken, and she's missed them all. Look at that move inside. Cardoso there showing the effects of just what her defensive presence can mean. Now they're going to go into Cunane. Elisa versus Camilla.
Wisely kicks that out.
And Boyd, a little spin move, but shuffled her feet.
Yeah, Jada Boyd is another player that comes off of the bench and just has a huge impact on what NC State does. I know that our studio crew, the ACC ladies, the accolades, they gave Boyd the 6th Player of the Year award, and it was tight for me between Boyd and Inksler, and also Destiny Walker, who decided may not hit the threshold, but Boyd has just been a player that Westmore can put in and changes the complexion of what they do. She has a scorer's mentality.
Boyd, a sophomore, ACC All-Freshman last year. Syracuse has missed 12 of its 14 shots in this third quarter, which is coming to a close. Will they get a shot off in time? They do, a wild one at that, and it was an NC State third quarter. They are up by 13 as we go to the fourth.
Boy, the Wolfpack were in trouble at the half, but what a third quarter led by Reina Perez, getting to the rim, not just a facilitator, but could also score it, doing a little bit of everything. NC State on the run. Welcome back to Syracuse, where NC State had a big third quarter to take the lead, and it's all about the center, Lisa Cunane, having more of an impact in the third quarter of this one, putting her body in position to make good catches, both on the block, but also moving and staying active off of the bounce as her teammates are looking to get her touches, and she has been able to get more looks around the cup in the third quarter, and the shot blocking that was kind of limiting NC State in the paint in the first half. Not so much in the third quarter, as they now have 32 points in the paint already.
A big third quarter. They outscored Syracuse 21-7 in that quarter. Pam Ward along with LaChina Robinson on this final day of the ACC regular season. NC State trying to cement the number 2 seed in the ACC tournament, which starts later this week. And if they win, they're going to be cheering for Notre Dame to upset Louisville as Cardoso takes steps. They will be playing later on today. A lot of big matchups nationally in the SEC. Texas A&M is playing Syracuse this afternoon. So a lot of interesting things going on as we head towards the conference tournaments. And you see the run for NC State. Syracuse has missed 10 of its last 11 shots.
Well, and their three-point percentage is what concerns me most. 3 of 19 for the Orange in this game as Tiana Mongakahia gets a run out.
And holding her left knee, too, as she crashed to the floor. She's the type of player who Should she be wearing knee pads? Because she certainly bangs them up.
She's wincing a little bit, which is concerning. Gets a great steal on Kai Crutchfield, and out on the run, let's see. You hate to see him pull down on that knee on the way, after the way up. You know, she kind of came down right away, grabbing it, but it looks like she's okay.
Yeah, there's no way she's coming out of the game. Hopefully she's just, it was just the impact that caused the pain. Hillsman is as you see her hit 1 out of 2, we remind you to watch Nothing But Net on the ACC Network every Sunday, a weekly basketball show that previews the week ahead and looks back at the great stuff from the week before. Coming up tonight at 6 Eastern time on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Special time, 6 Eastern tonight, 2 hours earlier than usual. Second effort for Lewis draws the foul.
You can imagine Coach Muffy McGraw is probably going to get us ready for the ACC tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Just shout out to our studio crew that's been amazing all season long. Kelsey Briggs, Coach McGraw, Monica McNutt, Kelly Gramlich. It's been awesome. Great coverage of women's basketball in the ACC.
Sierra Lewis at the line. She was fouled by Brown Turner. The lead is back up to a dozen just like that.
That's
Boyd.
your 4 and 5 player in the open court. Boyd is essentially in the game right now as a power forward. And she and Kanane ran the break.
Finally, Camila Cardozo scores her first points of the game.
Come on, freshman. Got to get your attitude together and make an impact in the fourth quarter. 2 feet in the paint, forget it. 6'7", she's so good at using the glass. As you mentioned, it's been a disappointing showing, and credit NC State. She has been bothered by 6'5" Kanane, but you see the numbers here. She leads the ACC in blocks, 11 in the country, and is first in field goal percentage. She has really changed the way that teams have to approach playing Syracuse. Not only do they have to prepare for their pressure in the open court, but you can't get anything on the inside of the paint with Cardoso.
Third foul as well on Kunane, who is out of the game. Camille Hobby, who played very well in the first half, number 41 in white, is back in for the Pack. Perez went, oops, that's Cardozo. I'm not going to shoot.
Good decision.
Shot clock is dying. Perez steps back from Cardozo and fires up an air ball. And Emily Engsler, who had a very quiet third quarter, comes up with the rebound. Priscilla Williams hasn't scored. Yes, she has. So the other freshman who'd been shut out.
You asked a moment ago, Pam, where are the freshmen? Cardoso and Williams. This is when you show your sophomore stunt. And Williams takes it off of the bounce and gets to the rim. No longer a freshman. These two have been starting this season. They have to be relied on for production to show what they've been learning all year with the minutes that they've played on the court. And this is good to see them come to life here in the fourth.
So a three-point play for Cardoso, followed shortly thereafter by Williams' three-point play. Gets the lead down to 6. Had been in double digits.
Full court man-to-man pressure from the Orange.
Tobby back in for Syracuse. Good defense by Engsler. And here's Tiana. Tobby against Hobby. Turns, and it just dribbles off the rim. Guarded out there by Engsler. Now Hobby against Jaldi. Tobby shoots right over her, and Maeva comes down with the board.
You know, Syracuse in a man-to-man there. They have just been switching up their defenses.
Lewis got a good look at the three. Engsler able to keep it alive. Jaldi can't get it to go, so a couple of empty trips for Syracuse after they cut the lead to 6. Perez going to take the air out of the ball a little bit.
5 assists for Perez in this game. 0 turnovers.
He has 4 games with at least 3 assists and no turnovers this season, and is working on another one. Hobby just stayed with it, and Jaldi blocked it.
I mean, if you're Syracuse, you've got to be encouraged. You've held NC State to 40% from the field. You are starting to get a little bit more rhythm on the offensive end. It's hard to see if Jaldi got a piece of the hand on that or not, but she has been steady.
So Syracuse trying to get closer than 6 points as there's a timeout in Syracuse. ACC Network Women's Basketball is presented by Food Lion, official grocer of the ACC. And some tears before the game. Maeva Jaldi, as her family made videos. Family's not in attendance. Maya Finkley as well, being honored on senior day. Lots of tears. Stratmana, Mangakahia, also seniors. Kiara Lewis, honored last year. And Coach Hillsman said he wasn't going to cry today. He was going to keep it together.
That's why he wears the glasses, so we can't see the tears. He's not fooling us.
Yeah, he's a softie. He's been very attached, obviously, with the team, on Kahahia in particular, and that's a good basket out of the timeout by Jaldi, who we just showed.
Yeah, really good feed to Jaldi, cutting to the rim.
That's an 8-0 Syracuse run. They're only down 4.
Yeah, they were in
good
trouble.
Defense.
They were in trouble.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. Syracuse making a run here with plenty of time left to go in the Dome.
On an afternoon where we are celebrating a fighter in Tiana Mangakahia, Syracuse showing us they've got some fight in the fourth against the #2 team in the country. It started with the freshmen, Camila Cardoso, Priscilla Williams, having an impact on this basketball game. Syracuse has gotten to the free throw line. They are showing signs of life. And when you look at the statistics, the Orange have done their job on the defensive end. They've held the #1 field goal percentage team in NC State to just 40% shooting from the field, 14% from the three-point line. Now the Orange have to score. And here's a turnover coming out of the timeout.
Wow, too ambitious with that pass. Syracuse was down 13 points earlier in this quarter, and it's now an 8-0 run for Syracuse. And out of the timeout, there's a turnover. You keep seeing Tiana Mangakahia flex her left knee that she might have tweaked when she went up for a shot earlier, and then landed on the knee, but she's still in there. Lewis, that was a nice spinorama.
Beautiful move by Kiera Lewis. And another turnover.
Wow, Syracuse, 10-0 run. They try to go inside. Cardoso saves it. Lewis. Syracuse takes the lead as Kiera Lewis buries the 3. What a comeback by the Orange.
How about the Syracuse Orange? Causing some turnovers. Kiera Lewis has had a fantastic afternoon, 25 points. 10 for 21 from the field, and here they get to pick up in their defense, showing some pressure.
Another bonus of making your shots you can set up, but then Cardoso just bulldozed Cunane to the floor.
See, when you're 6'7", trying to guard in the open floor, it's that body control, Pam. I'm 6'4",
thereof.
already know how it works. You want to be aggressive, but you also have to recognize she had 2 fouls early in the first half.
Camilla now with 3 personal fouls. Cardoso just 3 points today, but does have 10 rebounds. State playing from behind for the first time in a while. Cunane drew the foul. Cardoso hoping it's not on her.
Yeah, Cardoso has been a little undisciplined today on the defensive end. Good catch there by Cunane, but that's not the right angle to try to block a shot. That's when you got to just understand you're out of position. Your team needs you on the floor. Now 4 fouls for Camilla.
Cunane with an uncharacteristic miss at the free throw line, 85% at the line. That is 5th best in the ACC.
Yeah, we were just talking with our folks in the control room, and that was a tough call on Cardoso. I mean, she was not necessarily straight up, but the contact was a little light.
4th on Cardoso, and pardon me, Cunane did hit both of her free throws, and that bounces State back on top as we go under 5 minutes left to go. Syracuse has overcome a couple of 15-point deficits this year, both at Pitt and at home against Notre Dame. Sorry, Muffet. But this was a big deficit here in the 4th quarter against the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, you and I watched a comeback by Syracuse in the 4th quarter. The games all kind of go together now. I thought it was against Wake Forest.
Williams, did she get it off in time? Mattered not because she missed it. Cunane then got fouled by the freshman.
Yeah, a few foul calls here on Syracuse, slowing that momentum. Williams mixing it up for the rebound. She did get the arm of Cunane there.
And also State, good free throw shooting team. Next one is going to put them in the bonus. And a steal, Enxler, great anticipation. And then Jaldi Tabdi called for the travel as she tumbled at half court after some contact.
I don't know about that one. Take a look here. Enxler saves it. I don't even think she fouled, honestly. I mean, once she rolled over, yes, but that whistle blew way before then.
NC State able to keep it alive as we approach 4 minutes to go in the game. Syracuse outscoring State 16-4 in this quarter. Cunane brought it down, and that brought a tie-up. NC State, though, holds on to the basketball. A bit of trouble getting it in, but when they do, Cunane got a pretty good look and then lost the ball.
Great collapse defensively on Cunane by Syracuse.
Tiana dribbling underneath. Enxler's been quiet since the 1st quarter. Now she's loud. Emily Enxler gives Syracuse the lead. We have had 17, make that 18 lead changes in this game. Lewis with a huge offensive rebound.
NC State hasn't gotten many threes, but they are 1 for 9 on the ones that they have taken. Keeping in mind, they are number 1 in ACC play in 3-point field goal percentage.
Lewis pulls up and nothing but net. Kiera Lewis with a season high in scoring.
Hey, this is what we saw Kiera Lewis do last season with Tiana Mungakahia out. She had the ball in her hands more and could just go and get a bucket right on Kai Crutchfield. It has been a Kiera Lewis afternoon. What a performance.
Kai Crutchfield, just a terrific perimeter defender, but Lewis showing that she can elevate and hit. Season high 27 for Lewis. Her career high is 32. Set that last year against West Virginia. Good look underneath for Boyd, who hesitated a minute or a second and was able to get it in to cut the lead back to 1. Only the second field goal of this fourth quarter for the Pack. Look at the run, 20-6 for the Orange. Baldy Tabdi shuffled her feet, boy, before the drive. So John Wildhack, the athletic director, Dino Babers, the head football coach, watching in the building, showing their support across for the women's basketball program. Big senior night, number 2 Wolfpack in the building.
Oh, you know how much this would help, not only for Syracuse trying to hold on to the top 4, but for their seeding in the NCAA tournament to get a signature win. Where do you go if you're NC State and you need a bucket? You go to your Player of the Year candidate, Elisa Kanane. The sweep and go on Maeva Jaldi-Tabdi, who's had a rough couple of minutes, just too much body from Jaldi-Tabdi. And Kanane has had to show some toughness down the stretch of this one.
13 of her 17 points have come in this half for Elisa Kanane. The senior class trying to beat NC State for the first time. Last time was in January 2017. So the 4-year players on this squad have never beaten NC State.
Boy, that's a tough turnover for Kira Lewis. I'm not sure where she thought she was going with that pass, but there was no way that could get there. And you could hear Quentin Hillsman asking for a foul. Travel on Kanane.
Yeah, that's a gift to get the turnover back. Miss Moore, he knew this would be a tough one coming in. These are the 2 teams in the league that have not lost home games this year. Both State and Syracuse perfect at home. Syracuse coming in, projected as an 8 seed by Charlie Cream, a 2 seed for State. Jaldi-Tabdi wide left. I don't know if that's the shot you wanted.
Yeah, Maeva Jaldi-Tabdi's had a rough kind of couple minutes here. Some tough breaks for her, some fouls. Various situations.
Boyd lost it on the way up. Defended by Enxler.
Only 6 seconds left. This is a huge defensive possession for the Orange. You know, are they sure who that went out on?
.30-second timeout called by Wes Moore. We will take a break as well, going down to the wire at Syracuse. Welcome back to ACC Basketball, presented by Food Lion. As we take a look at the series, NC State has won the last 3 games. And Syracuse trying to pull off the upset, down 2, but they do not have the basketball, coming back from a double-digit deficit in this fourth quarter. Jakia Brown-Turner blocked by Enxler, but a second chance put in by Boyd.
Boy, what a play. The rebound for NC State. I mean, that initial defensive stance by Enxler could not have been more perfect, but the Orange unable to come up with the rebound. Brown-Turner gets to the rim, and Emily Enxler was perfect there. The freshman Williams could not get it, but who does? Jada Boyd has been huge this afternoon. 9 rebounds in this game, 16 points.
And that 9th rebound, the biggest of the game. And now it's a 4-point deficit. Syracuse going to have the basketball. NC State just 2 losses this year at Virginia Tech in overtime when they did not have Elisa Cunane, and then the loss at North Carolina that they avenged last week with a decisive victory. Because NC State with 2 wins against #1 teams on the road at South Carolina and at Louisville. Still projected as a #2 seed. There will be another reveal coming up later today for the top 16. Lewis and Mangakahia, the seniors. Engsler knew she missed it as soon as it left her hands, and then they're going to get Brown Turner with the foul on the rebound attempt.
And you notice no Kayla Jones on the floor, but Boyd is on the floor instead for NC State. Jones is usually a player that's out there when they're clawing their way back. She makes good decisions in late, but Boyd has stepped in and is really showing a lot of leadership down the stretch of this one. And this is important here for Syracuse because not only can they cut into this by 2, but then they can set up their defense. But NC State does have some timeouts if they want to look to advance the ball, and that's a big miss for the freshman.
Williams, a 74% free throw shooter. Pitt, Georgia Tech, following us here on the ACC network. So it's a 1 point at the line, makes it a 3-point advantage. The shot clock is off. And they're trying to mention Syracuse can set up their press.
But NC State called the timeout, so they will get the option of advancing the ball. So there probably won't be an opportunity for that full court pressure from the Orange.
So smart timeout by Coach Moore to advance the basketball. It's a back and forth game.
And this again, I said that there wasn't a very important defensive possession for Syracuse a few moments ago, but this one is also very important. But taking a look at bracketology for NC State, net 9, strength of schedule, Green projecting them as a 2 seed. And whether Syracuse is able to win this game or not, this should help them with as far as the eye test is concerned and how they played against the #2 team in the country. And depending on what all else happens for this reveal, I mean, NC State could be moving at some point on the seed line. I mean, I still go back to the fact that they have 2 wins over #1 teams on the road.
Yep. NC State, by the way, has never been a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They did get to their only Final Four back in 1998, but were not a 1 seed.
Syracuse goes for the steal, but ends up having to foul here.
Perez. Back to a 2-possession game.
And still
Perez
2 timeouts for Quinn Hillsman, so he can advance the ball as well.
Yep. Perez so cool, gets them both. And there is the anticipated timeout by Coach Hillsman. So Syracuse is projected as an 8 seed, one of 8 teams Charlie Cream says will make the ACC tournament. Actually a better strength of schedule than NC State, but this would be a huge win on their resume.
Yeah, it could help to move them in terms of seeding as far as the NCAA selection committee is concerned with the eye test of as far as how they played against NC State today. You see the other projected seeds, NC State 2, Louisville 2, Georgia Tech 6.
Wake Forest part of the first 4 out. Clemson the next 4 out, according to Charlie Cream. So Tiana Mangakahia probably playing the last 27.4 seconds of her career at Syracuse along with the other seniors. Lewis goes for the bucket, hoping for an old-fashioned 3-point play, but State wisely did not foul her.
Really good offense here for Syracuse, needing to score quickly. Go to Lewis, who's been your hot hand, a little height advantage, even with the help of Boyd. NC State trying not to foul, allowing the quick score. And now NC State once again will get to advance the ball. And as you can imagine, Syracuse will play the steal and foul game.
NC State now out of timeouts. Syracuse just one remaining. What a great comeback by Syracuse, down double digits to take the lead here in the fourth quarter, but NC State, resilient, has taken the lead back. And the women's basketball tournament starting on Wednesday. Pitt and BC get things going. And this is the way the bracket looks right now. Syracuse hoping to stay in that top four. That very important double bye to go right to the quarterfinals on Friday. Louisville with the #1 seed, and they actually are going to let a limited number of fans into the building. Was it 17%, I believe? Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern via Ticketmaster. Go to the ACC.com for all the information. LaChina Robinson's going to be in the building.
I will. Looking forward to Greensboro as always, and still a lot happening in ACC play the last day of regular season. It looks like with 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Florida State's got an 8-point lead over Wake Forest, outscoring them 20-10 in the fourth. Later on, we've got North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Miami, Clemson, and Louisville, Notre Dame, which will be on ESPN.
3 o'clock
Good job
Eastern.
of NC State.
Yep, we got the ball in.
Yeah, got it in with some space so you can't foul right away.
Tiana Mangakahia leading the country in assists. Melissa Cunane, very good second half for NC State. And Coach Hilsman said that he didn't anticipate Tiana to be very emotional today. She's always been very even-keeled. He says we're the ones who get emotional, the coaching staff and the players. She's just so competitive, frustrated earlier in the year because she was not playing the way she was used to before she went through the cancer battle. But we've certainly seen many more flashes as of late of just the potential and the talent of this young woman from Brisbane, Australia. And Mangakahia, her dad is a Maori from New Zealand, one of the natives of New Zealand, therefore the amazing last name. But this is the timeline, the diagnosis almost 2 years ago, 8 chemotherapy sessions, cancer-free as of a year ago in November, and she went 615 days between games. We saw her last year on the bench when she had no hair, but always had that trademark Tiana smile on her face.
Well, I mean, and coming back during the COVID season of all things, so there were shutdown periods where she couldn't be on the court and couldn't move her game forward. Suffered a foot injury earlier on in the season that kind of gave her a little setback as well. But no matter the setback, Tiana Mangakahia is a fighter, and what a pleasure it's been covering her career. I'm glad we still have some games left. Here are numbers from today, but it doesn't tell the story of a young woman who is a dynamic passer, who is incredibly passionate about the game, that makes her teammates better on every possession, and has taught us something about life and taught us something about courage. And I could not think of a better day or a story in honor of the memory of Kay Yao to talk about Tiana Mangakahia and what she's been through and how we are all still battling in the fight.
Syracuse got to score in a hurry. Tiana a little bit short, and that should do it for the Wolfpack, the #2 team in the country. Like they're going to just survive and get out of the dome with the victory.
What a second half. I mean, NC State showing once again that they can win games in a variety of ways. Didn't shoot the ball great. We know how amazing they are on the offensive end with their field goal percentage and their three-point field goal percentage, but what they did today was more about their defense and finding ways to keep Cunane involved, changing their ball screen action defensively a little bit against Kira Lewis. And even after a push from Syracuse, they were able to stay in this one and ultimately get the win.
13-3 run followed Syracuse's 13-0 run that gave them the lead. But the number 2 team in the country, the NC State Wolfpack, win it 68-61 despite a season-high 29 points by Kiera Lewis, who named 17 points and 9 rebounds. So that'll do it for us. Tiana Mangakahia off the court for the last time here. We'll see her in the ACC tournament. For LaChina Robinson and our entire great crew in Syracuse, I'm Pam Ward. As we say, so long from the Dome. NC State survives. Time now for Muffet McGraw and Dalen Cuff.